Yo, what is up guys? Welcome back to a brand new league racing video on F1 2021. This is PSGL round 8 around Spa-Francorchamps and it's gonna be raining later on in Q1 already. So that's why we're heading out basically straight away in Q1 to try and get as many laps in as possible, as the rest of qualifying is gonna be wet probably as well if we're looking at the weather prediction. So that's why we just can use up our softs and just try to get into Q2 where it's most likely going to be raining. Start of the race is predicted to be wet conditions as well, so going to be interesting. It's wet quite a lot. The last few races, Jeddah was intermediate conditions as well, of course, and Silverstone was intermediate conditions, so it's wet a lot of the time, which is interesting. But now we just need to focus on Q1. On dry conditions and try to get the most out of it. It's very weird going out so early in Q1 as just no grip out there. You're just not used to drive in these conditions, but it's going to be the same in intermediate conditions, so somewhat it's a bit of a good practice to try and warm up for changeable conditions. Heading into turn 1, got the fronts in pretty nicely there. Rotation is so important in turn 1. And then try to be smooth through this section to carry as much speed as possible up the Camel straight, opening the DRS. Very long straight, one of the longest on the calendar, into the Lecombe section. 30.154, which is really good for a Q1 session. So this middle sector is the most important one. The most corners there are in a sector on this track. And also the longest sector by far, so most time to gain is in this sector. And a bit under the limit so far, not gonna lie. It's not been a great sector into pull on. Missed the apex quite a bit. Not on the limit on the outside, so that's not great yet, not gonna lie.
5 minutes until rainfall expected. 5 minutes until rain dries. Seem like the fastest tyre at the moment.
As you can hear Jeff say there, 5 minutes until rainfall expected. And into the middle split of 113.4, which is pretty poor, but of course track conditions are pretty poor as well, so early on in Q1. And now she's all flat out through Blanchimel, try to be smooth on the wheel. Shanaka Clay goes P1 with a 141.522, one of our championship rivals this season in PSGL. Into the La Chicane, trying to get some nice rotation. And then up to the line, Nicolas Longway 141.3, we do a 141.6. So that was not a very good lap, but it started raining shortly after and not everyone got a lap in. So that means, even though it was a very poor lap, we still easily got into Q2. So that's all good and sorted. P11 it is, Cedric Tolmay returning to league racing in P14 as we now go into Q2. Starting our first timed lap on the intermediates. We should have time for 2 push laps on both runs, but heavy rain is predicted later on in this Q3 session, so these 2 push laps might be very, very important. I filled up for 3 push laps in case I can, but I expect the full wet conditions to hit before I basically can finish the 3rd push lap. So Simon Pericny 151.6 goes P1, so pretty solid lap for him, as last week he was pretty fast in Jeddah as well in intermediate conditions, but he just had damage early on, so he was out of the race. And then we had a little battle with him for the fast lap. But now 2nd push lap, this is the one where it counts. First one was just feeling the conditions around, and now this one is going to be much more important. I want to build up my pace on the intermediates, get a feeling, try out some things, and then in Q3, when it really matters, is where I want to be completely on it. I don't want to invalidate any laps early on here in this session. As I said, this lap might be crucial on getting us into Q3, because if it does get full wet, it means this lap is the final lap we're getting. So the pressure is on. And through there, 3 tenths up, but we lost a bit on the exit, and we lost a bit through here as well. So 2 tenths up now. Lost a 10 there, which is unfortunate. Into pull on Missed the apex a bit. It's not been a great qualifying session for me so far. I've just been missing apexes all over the place. A few lockups here and there. But nonetheless, we're still in it, so that's what matters. Through the next chicane, almost 3.5 tenths up. And then this exit is so important, because it's a massive straight coming up. This one is just about not flat in intermediate conditions, but we're almost 4 tenths up, heading into the bus stop chicane. And as you can see, the Alvaro Carreton 151.417, pretty solid lap from him. Simon Prickney has not managed to improve on this lap so far. Into the bus stop chicane, rotation is so important here. As you can see there, I didn't get some nice rotation in the final left-hander. Barry Wormond 151.37, and we come across the line and it's a 151.609. We're not as fast in intermediate conditions at the moment. Not gonna lie, we're quite a bit off, but we're just gonna have to keep pushing on this third lap, because I think we're the only ones that have fueled up for 3 laps. I just want to get as much laps in as possible in this session, so we can warm up for Q3 basically. We're half a tenth up, so very solid turn 1. Barry Wormond with a with a 31.9 first sector. He's slowing down, and we go almost a tenth faster than that. So that shows we're getting into a nice rhythm here through this whole section. Need to take those curbs for
it's gone full
rotation.
wet, just as I'm improving even more.
As you can hear me say, it has gone full wet. I could just see it, that it was turning more and more wet, and that's why I lost a bit of time through there. But even though I'm just driving better on this lap, as you can see through Puon, we're getting the apex nicely, and that's why we're gaining time, but there is less grip at this point. So just when I got into a nice rhythm, it's turned full wet, and you can see the front is just not gripping up anymore, and we just lost 2 tenths there. So yeah, that's basically disqualifying over, because no one is going to improve anymore unless you've done a very poor lap time. But I think if you're outside of the top 10, you're going to stay outside of top 10. So I decided to box on that lap. P3 it is. Teammate Jake Benham in P6 going into Q3 as well. Quite some shockers there with Joni Tormela, Fabricio Donoso both out in Q2. As we're finishing up our final push lap, I think so. This is my second push lap, yeah, of Q3. And yeah, we're still gonna have time for one more run, but we go P1. We were already P1 with that 151.2, but we improved even more to a 50.9, so I think we're on pole by 4-5 tenths at the moment. And
it's nowhere near ready for slicks, is it, Connor?
No.
Copy.
Still very moist. I don't think I'm making too much in the end, by the way.
it's
Double
still
check the soft delta.
very wet, so didn't expect
It's coming.
the softs to play a part in this quali session, but I still wanted to check the delta, so that's what I'm doing here. And it still says lap delta is 6 seconds, but because I was on pole by 3-4 tenths anyway, I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do it. If it doesn't work, then we'll probably drop to P3, P4, P5 on the grid, which is not the worst thing around Spa, you know. It's pretty easy to overtake.
It might be close.
Yeah.
But if it does work, then we will go pole position. But to my surprise,
soft.
everyone went soft.
Both Ferraris as well.
Yeah, copy.
I'm not sure. It's gonna be very close. If it doesn't, then Jake will get pole.
Oh my god, Barry. So, yeah, I was very surprised to see everyone go out on softs. Jake was basically one of the only ones on intermediates out there. And the softs were working already pretty well in outlap, and DRS was enabled, so that usually means the grip is there. And you can see the delta going into turn 1, already 1 turned up, which just shows there's so much more grip. And now the art is gonna be who can deliver a lap in these half dry conditions. We were not the last to cross the line. You can see there's still 4 or 5 people behind us that crossed the line later than us, so they will have an advantage. But we've got 2 McLarens ahead of us, Tomek Paratis and Barry Burmant. So they should have slightly worse conditions than us. But in the end of the day, it's gonna matter. We will get a lap in these half-dry conditions. It's so hard because these curbs are so slippery, but you need to use them as well. And at the same time, you need to brake late, but if you're a little bit too late in these half-dry conditions, you just lock up and go straight on. So it's so hard to get right. But you can see into pool and we're 3.2 seconds up, and that shows the slicks are so much faster. It has dried up at such an insane pace that yeah, Jake at this point is gonna be last probably. As there's a yellow flag in pool 1, someone maybe has gone off there. But we're 5 seconds up going into the final sector, and it's basically completely dry going into the bus stop chicane. And now it's gonna be so close, I reckon, because everyone is struggling in these conditions. As you can see, Tomek Pratt is 144.9, which means we're gonna have to go 6 seconds up to our delta across the line, and we will easily be able to do that. You can see across the line we're gonna be 6.5 seconds up, 44.5. We go pole position for now, but Simon Perikny goes P1, and then Nicolas Longue improves on that as well and takes pole position. Ruben Pedreno has invalidated and is starting from P7. So in the end we lost out on pole by less than a tenth, which is pretty good in my opinion considering the conditions. Nicolas was one of the last to cross the line, so he would have had slightly better grip than us in the first 2 sectors. But yeah, solid P3 is not too bad around Spa. You know, pole position is not the greatest around Spa-Francorchamps because there's such a long straight, basically straight after the start. So you know, it might be better to start P2 or P3. But in intermediate conditions, it's not as easy to overtake, of course, because you need all the downforce available. And then you can see on the minimap an Aston Martin, still the first sector. Basically, he disconnected, and somehow his AI didn't get off the line. So now he is just driving completely on his own, and just started the second sector, basically. Oh, we're gonna have to wait for that fucking Aston Martin.
3 hours later.
If he's fast, he can still do the start. So, yeah, 3 hours later, we're finally starting the race in intermediate conditions. It is supposed to dry up later on in this race, but it's gonna be 5 red lights. And away we go for round 8 of PSGL into turn 1. Simon Perikny goes for a very late move on Nicolas Longue. I have to avoid him a little bit into turn 1. But all good, no damage so far, and now we have to try and get some nice slipstream up the hill on Camel Straight. So we have to set ourselves up nicely into Erosion Radeon, which we did. We got a nice exit of Radeon there, but we just don't have enough momentum to do anything, as Simon is, I wouldn't say giving slipstream to Nicolas, he would just position his car there. And yeah, now we're still in P3, so no positions gained, no positions lost. Nicolas goes very wide there through the Lacombe section, and then the downhill right, easy to lock up, and that's exactly what Simon has done in there, very wide. And Nicolas is almost having a little look there into there, but now half a lap later, we're still right on the tail of Nicolas Longue through this section. Exit is going to be so important, but I got a massive tank slapper on that exit, and I decided to straight away turn on the overtake button. I had 100% the ERS anyway, so I might as well turn it on and use it and put some pressure on Nicolas Longue flat out through Blanchimont. And now we're going to have a little look down the inside of the bus stop chicane. Nicolas misses his braking point a bit, so I was trying to look for a switchback, which he covers off nicely, but then he gave too much space on the outside. We got squeezed onto the curb a little bit. So we lost a bit of traction, but into turn 1, we're going to go down the inside again. And I'm going to cover off the switchback nicely here. So we're still going to be ahead into a Rouge, but let's not forget, Nicolas will get a very good slipstream up the hill here. I decided to turn off the overtake button to give him some nice dirty air through a Rouge and Radeon, so we can have more momentum going up the hill. But he still nailed it pretty nicely, and we're going to go side by side surely into the comp section. Nicolas with more momentum on the outside. We are gonna brake slightly later. A little bit of a lock up, but we managed to keep it on track. And now we can start to close in that gap on Simon Pericny. And let's not forget, Simon was very fast in intermediate conditions in qualifying as well. So he's gonna be one to watch for sure. As now we're starting lap 5. You can see we've closed the gap to Simon Pericny. Barry Burmont has passed Nicolas Longe.
I think I'm quite a bit faster than everyone again.
They swept around this game. You say I'm quite a bit faster than everyone else again. As I closed around 4/10 to Simon on that last lap. You can see the gap behind me has increased by quite a bit. As I'm struggling to do AMD Radeon flat out in dirty air. So yeah, I reckon pretty low on wings compared to everyone else, and that's making our life a bit tough. But on to the start of lap 7. You see purple last sector, pretty much the same lap time done as our fastest lap, so we were pushing Simon pretty hard on that last lap. And now
I can do Rouge flat when I'm behind him.
It's gonna be mistake. I can do Rouge flat when I'm behind it, but we got some good momentum. Simon couldn't do Rouge flat out as well, so I turned on the overtake button. We're tucking in the slipstream nicely here, and we're gonna go for a move into the comp section down the inside of Simon Pericny. We're gonna try and brake late, but not brake too late. I want to give the space to Simon, of course, and through the comp section we're gonna have the inside for the next one, trying to cover off the switchback, and up to P1 we go. And on lap 7 we take the lead of round 8 in the PSGL Championship. Purple first sector because of the ERS usage, of course. Our battle cost us a little bit of time to Barry, but we should all be good. Overtaking in wet conditions is not easy. And we got some nice gap to Simon now before we head onto the long back straight. End of lap 10. Some people have pitted for slick, so you can see it has stopped raining, but the track is still very dry. But we're gonna gamble it as well, as the slick runners were just faster than us. So wouldn't be surprised if one of the slick runners is gonna undercut us. Our teammate Jake Benham has pitted for a new set of softs, and we're gonna be doing the exact same here. Danny Bresnay has gone for the mediums, which usually doesn't work very well in wet conditions. But going to the end on these softs is gonna be quite tricky. So tire management is going to play a factor here, and Danny might have gambled correctly here.
Oh my god, Jake got the undercut of the rims.
As you can see there, coming out of the pits, me and Simon are clear of everyone, but Jake Benham has gone from basically P8 to P4 now, and is attacking Barry Burmont for that final podium position. We're going to try and pull along Simon.
Jake going for it on Barry?
And battle it out later on, basically, because a 1v1 is always easier than a 1v2 on 1v3 in the last few laps, of course. So both me and Simon are going to work together here and, you know, try to maximize our position. We can always battle it out later on, but now we need to stay out of the DRS from P3 and P4, because if they get the DRS, then they will all pull each other along, and yeah, that just makes the last few laps so much more complicated than needed. As on lap 30 now, Simon is going to pass me. We're going to swap around as I use some of my ERS to try and pull Simon along. And now he's going to be doing the exact same. So we can stay clear of Barry Burmont and Jake Benham in that P3 and P4 position. Let's not forget, we need to be careful with our tires. Because 11-12 laps on a set of softs is pretty long. As we pit at the end of lap 10, we need to do 12 laps. Someone like Jake has to do 13 laps, and then one lap might be very crucial later on in the race. So lap 50 now, I'm gonna re-overtake Simon.
I'm swapping with Simon.
And you can see, it just gains you so much time swapping around to, for example, Jake and Barry. We're not working together very well, I think so. I think Barry and Nicolas were trying to work together, and that just makes made their life harder, because they were working against Jake, of course.
You know his tire by any chance? No.
And they were just...
No idea.
Barry and Nicolas were just trying to get ahead of Jake both at the same time. And yeah, they just make things so much more complicated. As I said, when you're a 1v1, in a 1v1, then it's just so much easier, because you can just battle it out. No tactics. with other people involved. So start of the last 2 laps now. We have basically 100% ERS starting those last 2 laps, and Simon Perekny looks like yes, the closest he's been in the past 5 laps basically. So he's gonna go for a move here. I forced him to use some ERS, and honestly, I do not mind being P2 going into the last lap, because he will get a DRS on Camel Straight, and that's all what I want. So this is perfect for us. This is exactly what I wanted, and I'm sure Simon will try and pull away in this middle sector. I think that is his whole plan. Get past me and try to pull away in that middle sector, but of course we have got the pace to stick with him. So I'm not planning to let him go in this middle sector at all. And you can see we still have so much battery remaining to use on this lap. So Simon is not going to pull away here. And we will get DRS if he doesn't play any games. You can see we are 4 seconds clear of Jake Bannon. So even if we do play games with each other, we have quite a margin to make sure we're clear of those guys.
Correctly, 61% at the start of that straight.
As you can hear my engineer Sam say, 61% of the start at the start of that straight.
Front left 58%. Where correctly?
The maximum you can use is around 50% usually anyway. You can see Simon is slowing down in the hope I will pass him, but I'm not stupid as well. I'm gonna stick behind here because I want that DRS down
there's gonna be a shit show.
Camel Straight. You can see he is lifting, and then he's probably gonna pull the pin on his exit because he got a massive tank slapper, and that was basically his plan ruined. And now he's pulled the pin, but it is too late because we're 3/10 behind him going into a rouge. We've got some nice slipstream, it's easy flat, and now we're gonna get DRS. We've got more than battery enough on Camel Straight here, and we're gonna overtake him. It's gonna be an easy pass for the lead of the race, and all I have to do now is manage it for the rest of the lap. There's one more long straight coming up where Simon might have a chance, but as I said, we still have very good pace left in those tires, so I'm going to be pushing in this middle sector to create a little bit of a margin before that final straight. Simon has gone wide in the background, and that cost him a solid 3/10, and now it's basically the race over unless we make a mistake. Philip Preachnader with a fast lap of the race on a brand new set of softs. We are not going for the fastest lap this time around because we're on 12 lap old softs. It's just not gonna work simply. So yeah, 8/10 clear into the final sector, final long straight coming up with more than battery enough on the remainder of this lap, and we're gonna be more than clear into the bus up chicane. Alvaro Carreton 3-second penalty in the last sector of the race. So that's very unfortunate, very unlucky for him. But Simon Perekny is going to finish second. Barry Borman is going to finish P3. So we're going to extend our championship lead by 6 more points in the standings. And we're going to win our 4th race in a row.
Love a good bit of rain, don't we?
It's, as you hear my engineer Sam say, we love a good bit of rain. We win the race, 6 more points extended. And now we're going to be leading by 28 points to Barry Borman. And Shanaka Clay was out of the race, so he scored 0. I think Shanaka is slowly starting to fade away out of this championship. But that was it. That was it for today. Sorry. Just want to say thank you for all the support on the League Racing videos. You guys leave a lot of positive comments, so I absolutely love that. Thank you for the great support over the past few weeks. It's been amazing. The League Racing videos. So make sure to like and subscribe if you guys want to see more. And see you guys next time. Ciao.